Today on the Towson University Newscast.
Like your best conversations is when someone brings a perspective and you're like, oh man, I never thought about it that way. That's what diversity brings.
A full recap of the Inclusive Excellence Summit and everything it had to offer to attendees. Plus, members of the news industry shared their career experiences, all the details on what the Towerlight's Journalism Bootcamp offered. And community members showed no mercy towards pumpkins at this year's Great Pumpkin Smash for an impactful cause. With those stories and more, the Towson University Newscast starts now. This is the Towson University Newscast. Hello, Towson University. I'm Jayden Gonsalves, and this is the Towson University Newscast, our first general newscast from the Cook Library Multimedia Studio. Our top story today focuses on how TU community members are attempting to recognize and acknowledge its exclusive past in a push for a more inclusive present and future with the Inclusive Excellence Summit. John Robert Woods Jr. has the latest.
We speak about these issues clearly, assertively, proactively, respectfully here at Towson University.
On Friday, November 7th, 2025, the Office of Inclusion and Institutional Equity held its Inclusive Excellence Summit, tackling the theme of embracing history and counter-storytelling.
We had over 300 registrants for this event, and at a time to have a very serious conversation about what's going on in society now, specifically as it pertains to race and racism. It means a lot that they showed up and that they still wanted to have these conversations and that they wanted to hear from someone like Nicole Hannah-Jones.
After opening remarks inside the University Union Theater from the office's Vice President Patricia Bradley and TU President Mark Ginsburg, members of the Unearthing Towson's History Project explained their initiative.
We hope to tell a full story of Towson's past, and I'm going to talk in a moment a little bit about why it's hard to tell that very story.
Following that presentation was the keynote featuring Nicole Hannah-Jones, a New York Times investigative reporter. The keynote was moderated by Bradley and SGA President Aliyah Ali.
That we are a fundamentally good country that is always moving forward. There is nothing in our historic record that validates that.
Hannah-Jones became prominent for developing the 1619 Project for the New York Times Magazine, which aimed to alter the way Americans viewed the history of slavery. She discussed a variety of topics during the keynote, including the rolling back of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives by the federal government and private sector.
That diversity is not about some political correctness. It's not about feeling good. It is a necessity in a democracy.
It's really important for our generation and all of us to just get involved and become more educated and aware with policies, because this will affect us as we grow older, and it's important just to not run from things that are difficult.
After lunch, attendees had the opportunity to engage with 2 breakout sessions, including equity games,
all right, opportunity,
and investigating the truth despite the threats.
Y'all got 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
To be able to interact with one another, share our perspectives, to be able to gain new perspectives and engage in true civil discourse is important. And I think that speaks to one of the missions of higher education overall.
And those are some insightful ways that the university is grappling with this complex past and tackling the present in a more inclusive fashion. Reporting from University Union, I'm John Robert Woods Jr. for TUN.
Thank you, John, for that informative recap. Well, TUN had the chance to talk to speakers and event planners before this year's TEDxTowson U event to get insight on what inspired their speeches and the logistics behind planning the event. Here's Nyrah Dorsey with more.
The University Union is packed with students today as Towson students and faculty members gather to explore a topic that is central to student life: how to find happiness within yourself and hold on to your joy. The event, titled Happiness by Design, featured a series of speakers from Towson University who'll break down the philosophy of self-cultivation.
My topic specifically is about designing happiness for Black women, and so overcoming different barriers and societal expectations and how we can cultivate happiness and connect with our inner self and also trust ourselves.
The theme of inner reliance was echoed by TU junior Caitlin Alexander. A mass communications major, she tackled an experience familiar to every student, FOMO, or the fear of missing out.
The theme is happiness by design, and I decided to approach it in embracing the joy of missing out, right? So we all know about FOMO. We all have experienced FOMO before, but I'm here to talk about why we should experience the joy of missing out rather than the fear of it. I think the first step, and my biggest piece of advice to anyone, is being content with being alone before you go and seek happiness elsewhere.
We caught up with speaker Chinenye Ofor, who focused her presentation entirely on the power of journaling to transform perspective.
I think one of the best ways is trying to find happiness in the everyday, in the little things. So my specific talk is about journaling, and so it's kind of to help you find happiness in every small moment in your daily life. And I think once you find those little bits of happiness, you can start to appreciate the larger ones as well.
We spoke with Alexa Blackman, a student and supervisor at the Public Communications Center, who was instrumental in planning the event.
Well, planning for TEDx, it's a very long process. We start the process last semester, just spreading the news, figuring out what theme we want to use this semester. Because of the political climate and everything going on, we just wanted to create something that would just create a small hope of joy, or helping people figure out what exactly would bring them happiness. So that's why our theme is happiness by design.
And as it turns out, happiness isn't so hard to find after all. Reporting from outside of Union Theater, I'm Nyrah Dorsey for TUN.
Thank you, Nyrah, for that report. Students had the chance to hear insightful information and network with members of the news industry at the Towerlight Journalism Bootcamp Behind the Byline event. Edwardina Beeko has the story.
Journalists, the goal is always to have that integrity. The goal is to always...
Towson students filled Van Bachlen Auditorium for the Towerlight's annual Behind the Byline panel, a night designed to help student journalists. The panel featured 4 journalists, including print, digital, and broadcast reporters from outlets like the Baltimore Beat, the Baltimore Banner, Fox 43, and WBAL-TV.
I remember pretty much all the guest speakers I had during my time at Towson, and so I know the kind of impact that hearing from someone in the industry, I know the kind of impact that it can have.
The program began with questions from moderator and Towson professor Jenny Atwater, covering reporting skills, career paths, and the day-to-day realities of a newsroom. Students then asked about entering the field, local news opportunities, and how to stand out in the media industry.
Kind of have the news feel on lock, so I wanted to learn a lot more, especially with Wesley from the Baltimore Banner being here. I wanted to learn more about the arts and culture aspect.
This year's panel was organized to support students entering a rapidly changing media landscape.
So this panel, mainly because we wanted to give an opportunity to both our reporters and also other journalism students at Towson to hear from industry professionals, people who are currently working in journalism and, being the people behind the bylines.
Thank you to the Towerlight for hosting Beyond the Byline, and thank you to the panelists for attending. Reporting from Van Bachlen, I'm Edwardina Beeko for TUN.
Thank you, Edwardina, for that report. Shifting gears, earlier this month, off-year elections were held across the country. John has been monitoring some of the races and has some analysis. John?
Yes, I've been monitoring 4 races in particular due to their national significance in this political environment. So we had 2 gubernatorial elections. In Virginia, Democratic former Representative Abigail Spanberger defeated outgoing Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears by about 15 percentage points. That is striking considering in 2021, Republican incumbent Glenn Youngkin defeated Democrat Terry McAuliffe by only about 2 points. In New Jersey, Democratic Representative Mikey Sherrill defeated Republican Jack Ciccarelli by about 14 points. Again, a striking result considering Democratic incumbent Phil Murphy defeated Ciccarelli in 2021 by only about 3 points. Now, everyone was paying attention to the New York mayoral race, where the young self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani defeated the heir of a political dynasty, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sewa. And finally, in California, over 2/3 of voters approved a mid-decade change in state congressional maps to counter the Texas legislators' change in their maps. Texas's new map aims to flip 5 Democratic-held congressional seats. The California legislature is now authorized to do the opposite. These results reflect a recharged and impassioned Democratic base, hoping to make their thoughts known not only to the Trump administration and congressional Republicans, but to the aging Democratic establishment as well, as we've seen in the New York mayoral race. Democratic voters want candidates who can fight against the current administration and congressional Republicans while also keeping the base enthusiastic. While it's still fairly early to conclude that next year's midterms might be a blue wave, if trends like these hold, that's more than likely the result. TUN will provide midterm coverage and analysis next year. As the saying goes, watch this space. In the studio, I'm John Robert Woods Jr. for TUN. Back to you, Jayden.
Now, on to sports. Jayden Atkins has coverage from some of the sporting events on campus. Jayden?
Welcome to TUN Sports. I'm also Jayden. Wonderful time to be a college sports fan. With basketball in full swing and football approaching the end of its road in 2025, volleyball takes center stage this week at Towson. Conference tournaments are starting for volleyball teams around the country, and that includes Towson, with the CAA tournament starting Thursday. I have the story.
Six years in a row, that's the number of times Towson has hosted the CAA Women's Volleyball Tournament. Though with no champions to show for it since 2022, the Tigers look to change that starting Thursday.
Everything really just goes into like one day, one scouting report, and really making sure we bring all our energy, all our effort on that one day, because at this point in the season it's win and move on. If we lose, it's the end of our season, so we understand what's on the line.
Towson finished the season with 21 wins, including an 18-game winning streak from end of August through the middle of October. Their record was good enough for the 3rd seed in the CAA. That makes their path a bit harder, needing 3 wins instead of 2 to capture the conference title.
It's a little bit more competitive for sure, because everyone on our team and the opposing team understands the situation that we're in, but we try to just take it as like another game. We don't want to add too much stress or pressure on ourselves. We understand that we need to win, but if we kind of go in with the understanding like freaking out over it, that just makes it worse in the end.
The last time Towson won this tournament was back in the fall of 2022. Last season's exit came in the semifinals, but a new season presents new opportunities, and the Tigers look to take advantage of that new opportunity this week.
The Tigers' first game of the tournament is Thursday evening, and the championship game will be Saturday at 7 p.m. Here's to hoping Towson makes it all the way there. In the studio, I'm Jayden Atkins for TUN Sports.
Students and faculty took a break from midterms by smashing pumpkins for a good cause at this year's Great Pumpkin Smash. Here's Jordan Cook with more.
Where'd it go?
On October 29th, the TU Student Foundation held its 9th annual Pumpkin Smash, and let's just say it relieved some much-needed stress. For a $5 contribution, participants received a pumpkin and a hammer to take part in some pumpkin smashing fun, courtesy of the student-led foundation, with all proceeds going back into campus programs and initiatives.
I really like this organization. I think it's a lot of fun. We get to do a lot of really great events like this where we get to raise money, not just for one small part of TU, but just for TU as a whole. And it's really fun to be able to give back in a way that lets people pick the money where they want their money to go.
Thanks to an enthusiastic crowd and generous donations, this year's turnout did not disappoint.
And what brought me out here today was probably, it's fun to break shit. It's important to me because, it's free, you get a pumpkin and you also get to break shit.
This is one way you can make a smashing impact at Towson University. Reporting live from Tiger Plaza, my name is Jordan Cook from TUN.
Finally, it's been almost 2 years since Bruno, TUPD's comfort dog, captured the hearts of the TU community. And with finals quickly approaching, we might see him around more. John got to check in on Bruno and speak with his handler on how Bruno and the K9 unit have been serving our community.
Sit. Nope. Sit. Sit. Good. Sit.
With a little under 2 years serving the Towson University community, Bruno, a 2-year-old chocolate Labrador retriever, and his handler, TUPD Sergeant Jafar Taru, have been learning a lot since the Comfort Dog program began.
Because Bruno's not like any other dog that you might find out working in the police department. So it's been keeping me on my toes and researching and gathering new information on how he is supposed to be used.
Sit. Sit. Good boy.
Bruno can be found present at certain events or occasionally around campus. University organizations can request online for Bruno's presence at events.
To bridge that gap and also to help out in times of incidents where we might definitely need to engage the public a lot more.
Bruno's not the only K9 dog within TUPD. Cora, a bomb and gun protection dog handled by Corporal Dino Perry, ensures campus safety. They were deployed during the recent bomb threat that the University Union received in late September.
I think it's a great form of security and a good involvement for students.
It's good, wasn't it? Yes.
And that concludes our check-in with Bruno and Sergeant Taru. Bruno, you have anything to say? Thank you. He just turned 2 years old on November 8th. Reporting from the Public Service Building, I'm John Woods for TUN.
Thank you, John, for that report. From all of us at TUN, this has been the Towson University Newscast. I'm Jayden Gonsalves signing off. Have a wonderful rest of your day.